Thank you, sir, for giving time for take part. This House do now discuss the land alienation within the state of Meghalaya and its impact on the tribal peoples of Meghalaya. So I have a very few. Number one is our traditional institution like Nukma, and other one, number two, is border area issue, what is prevailing in present state in border area, as well as the coal mining fields in Garo Hills region. Sir, my point is, number one, Nokmaship. There are two categories of Nokma. Number one is the wealthy family is called Nokma. And number two, the custodian of the clan's land, she is also called Nokma. Sir, in Garo Hills region, we have different coal mining fields like Nongal Vibra and other surrounding area. Those people, petty businessmen, non-Garo, they used to enter to the Garo Hills for the small business purpose. And slowly and gradually, this petty businessman, they stay for a long period and they study about the weaknesses of the particular family, and they start marrying Nokma widow and the daughter of the Nokma. Then subsequently, non-Garo become Nokma. That means custodian of the clan land. And after amassing the property, and they start leaving the place, going away from that particular place where he got married, and he will go back to his original home. Yes, some of them, they stay till their last breath, assimilating, man and dine, and they work for the benefit of that particular area. But most of them, they are taking away all the properties, wealth and money, and they gone back to their own house. That is a very sad thing, and it's happening in the Garo Hills region, and it's very, very peculiar pictures for our region. Next point, sir. Since we are in the border area, there is no boundary. Lots of roads entering to Garo Hills. There's no, it means there is no any point, gate to enter to the Garo Hills. Anywhere, everywhere, anybody can enter. Those petty businessmen, they enter to the region selling different kinds like fish and home materials, and they study the weaknesses of the families, and sometimes they are eloping the daughters and the wives of someone, and they are vanished somewhere in the neighboring state. And also, some of the petty businessmen, they will come and familiar themselves with the people. And sometimes the farmers, in the times of need, for the school fees of the children and for the hospital for treatment, they sell their land for the non-garos. And those petty businessmen, they are buying the land, hidingly, and using the tribal land for their own benefit. It is common phenomenon, and it's prevalent not only North Garo Hills and other parts of West Garo Hills also, sir. So these are some of the points that I want to raise in this August House. And these things are very, very impact on the tribal in Meghalaya. With these few words, I resume my seat.
Honorable Member Dr. Celestine Lingdo, Honorable from Muslim, please.
Mr. Chairman, sir, I rise to support the motion brought by the MLA from Nong Stoin. The motion is that this House do now discuss the land alienation within the state of Meghalaya and its impact on the tribals of Meghalaya. I will try to touch only points that are not repetitions. Mr. Chairman, sir, we all remember, if we reflect back a little on the history of India, when the Britishers came, they came as the East India Company. They came to Kolkata and they told the people that we have come here to help you. With what? To supply the spices that are produced from India. We will take it to Britain at a higher price. Who will benefit? You Indians will benefit. The silk that you produce, all these spices that you produce will get a higher benefit to you. Ultimately, as the history tells us, they ruled us for 200 years. Now when we come to the Land Transfer Act of Meghalaya, the exceptions that have been made are being exploited by many groups. I would like to mention here, under the disposal of application at 4, E, whether the land proposed to be transferred is actually required as a place of public religious worship by any community or as a burial or cremation ground. Means if it is true, it can be transferred. F, whether the land sought for to be transferred is for the purpose of implementing a scheme to promote the interests of the tribals in the field of education or industry. The same thing, if it satisfies, the land will be given to the non-tribals. I want to mention through you, Mr. Chairman, sir, in Bernihat areas, when all those industries started, all of them promised that the local boys and girls will be employed. Yes, they were employed. But after 1 or 2 months, the toughest of the tasks and jobs were given to our local boys, where ultimately the only way for them is to surrender. And after they surrender, then they bring the people who are non-tribals to work in those very areas. So where is the issue of benefit of the tribals? Now if you go on an inspection to all the factories in and around Bernihat, which is under the Meghalaya side, we will find that the tribals are not benefiting at all. But their land is being alienated. High walls, fencings, guards everywhere. even the movement of villagers from one place to another is being affected. That is one. Then another part is, when it is agreed that the land will be transferred for an educational institution or for other purposes which is already relaxed under the exceptions, what we find is that the Deputy Commissioner's office in any district, they are busy with so many other activities. But the clauses here provide that in disposal of application, at point number 3, every application for sanction under this section shall be disposed of by the competent authority as early as possible and not later than 6 months. At the end of 6 months, at rule number 4, if there is no communication, it is deemed that sanction has been accorded. So the revenue office in the DC office, if they are busy with so many other activities, sometimes by oversight, they forget to reply about the application. So when they forget, suppose if they remember, they would have said no, but just because they forgot to reply, it means that it has been accorded, accepted. So I feel something has to be done on this aspect. And in the Deputy Commissioner's office, I don't know what the present guideline is. They have to put on notice for 1 month in the DC office about the likely transfer of that particular land, so that people can raise objections. But as we all know, when we go to DC office or any public go to the DC office, none of us really spend time to read the notices, the different notices that are pasted in the DC office. Sometimes the notice might be there, the general public is not aware, or they just don't take the interest to read. So villagers might have complaints, but they miss the opportunity. So I support what the mover of the motion said, that wide publicity, in fact notices should be given to the headman. Even the headman of the adjacent village should also be intimated about the sale of those properties. So these are the few suggestions which I feel we should seriously think about. And the issue of landlessness in Meghalaya for the tribals of Meghalaya is very serious. I read in one article, they said that landlessness is touching 65 to 70% in Meghalaya. 76%. So 76% are landless, and those who have land now would like to sell it to a non-tribal entity, then the issue will be more grievous in the years to come. So with these few words, Mr. Chairman, sir, I feel a certain review has to be done on the Land Transfer Act. The exceptions has to be reviewed. And the process of according or the process of allowing those non-tribal entities in the form of educational institutions or industries has to be really fully scrutinized. With these few words, I resume my seat, Mr. Chairman, sir.